Barbie is out in theaters now, a new film from director Greta Gerwig, known from Lady Bird and Little Women, co-written by her and Noah Baumbach, starring Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. When news first broke out about this film being made, I think the internet collectively went, what the fuck? Why would a film about a Barbie doll be made by these beloved indie filmmakers with these two superstar actors in lead roles? What is going on here? Was this film going to be genuine, or was it going to be a, simple cash grab and marketing exercise, or was it maybe ironic, made for fun? But if it's the latter, why would it be an official Barbie thing made with the blessing of Mattel? But regardless of what it was going to be, it seems to have become a cultural phenomenon. Releasing on the same weekend as Oppenheimer, the movie seems to be doing incredibly well. Here in Poland, at least, it was nigh impossible to get a ticket for any of the weekend showings. I was on a late Saturday night show, and the place was absolutely packed with people. I literally haven't seen anything like this since Avengers Endgame. Anyway, back to the film. Turns out that the finished movie is a strange, chaotic trip that is partly celebration of Barbie, partly quirky, meta, fourth wall breaking comedy, and partly existential crisis with some social commentary thrown in. The plot begins in Barbie World, which is exactly what you would imagine under that name. Giant pink doll houses, various Barbie dolls doing all sorts of jobs, various Kens playing on the beach and competing for Barbie's attention, dance routines, girl parties, and never-ending bliss. Until one day, the stereotypical Barbie, played by Margot Robbie, begins to experience thoughts of death, which is utterly unheard of. To resolve this existential crisis, she has to cross the barrier into the real world, to go to Los Angeles, find a girl who is playing with her in the real world and who has a connection with her and therefore is responsible for these weird thoughts and ideas creeping into the fantasy land. And Barbie has to fix whatever is going on there before both worlds go in pretty unpredictable directions. So as I said, very chaotic, quite insane, all over the place, in good ways and in bad. Listen, I've seen the film yesterday evening, and I still haven't quite made up my mind whether I think it's a good movie or not. I'll start by saying it's definitely entertaining. I had a lot of fun, I had a lot of laughs, many of the jokes landed very well for me. I loved the various digs that the movie takes at male and female stereotypes. I liked the meta humor and winking at the audience. I was pleasantly surprised with how far the filmmakers were actually allowed to go. I mean, on some occasions they are taking the piss out of Barbie, out of the Mattel company. Even its CEO is painted in very unflattering light. But hey, somehow the film was not censored from all this, which is great. I also think Ryan Gosling steals absolutely every scene he is in. We knew he had comedy chops from back in Crazy Stupid Love and then especially The Nice Guys. But here he's just next level in terms of comedy. He is absolutely wonderful at playing a complete idiot, and that lends itself to a lot of jokes. On the other hand, Margot Robbie plays Barbie with a surprising amount of sincerity and heart. There's that scene that I especially loved, a scene which takes place on a bus stop in the real world when she first gets there. And it was just surprisingly touching and emotional. I think that the production design is spectacular. The Barbie world is just very impressive in terms of sets, costumes, props, etc. It looks properly insane. However, having said all of this, I do think that the film feels like it's trying to do 100 different things at the same time, and not all of them really work. Like, there's this subplot of mother and daughter and their strained relationship in the real world that Barbie ends up having to fix. But we never actually learn what was the problem there, what the mother and daughter were arguing about, and the resolution is that they just sort of meet and help Barbie, and that somehow fixes all their problems. Feels very undercooked. Similarly, the Mattel board, the suits are introduced, and then they go chasing Barbie around to put her back in a box, and they keep showing up throughout the film in funny ways, admittedly. But at the end of the day, they end up having no impact on the plot whatsoever. The whole thing could have been removed and the movie would stay exactly the same. The climax of the film is sort of outsmarting heist planning thing that then turns into a full-on battle sequence that then turns into a dance number, and it was just nuts how much was going on. Also, I think the film doesn't quite manage to walk the tightrope between being goofy fun and having poignant social commentary. I mean, some of that commentary lands well, and I will admit there were moments where I went, okay, well, you have a point there, or I was laughing at how well it criticized the things that men tend to do. The digs at playing guitar songs for women and liking Zack Snyder's Justice League cut were especially delightful. But there are also moments when the social commentary feels very, very heavy handed and preachy, and it's like the movie stops to say, there is a message that we have for the audiences to remember from this film, and that is this message. Listen to us, we are being serious now. It didn't feel subtle at all. It felt like, again, it felt like the movie stopped to give us a lecture. Also, the scene which introduces the daughter for the first time and she begins to tear into Barbie for all these various reasons, it was just a terrible example of contrived writing. Like, no teenager ever would go into a rant like that out of the blue. It just felt really stiff. So it is definitely a flawed movie. It doesn't get everything right, and some of the more serious stuff it tries to do misses the mark. But I will say, you have to remember, it is a goddamn Barbie movie. It's clear it was meant to be fun and entertaining as the main priority, and I think it does that job quite well. I think it's fine to ignore some of the flaws because there was so much stuff that I enjoyed. And even if I didn't like some of its messaging, or scratch that, I liked all of its messaging, but I didn't like some of the way that the messaging was executed. Uh, I mean, it would make me look pretty silly if this was the aspect that I mainly focused in a movie about dolls. So I don't think it's a great film, but I liked it.